Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 13, Dhritarashtra quits home, text number 38 onwards. Atha jagam bhagavan narada sahatum buru pratyuthaya abhivadya sanujo abhyacharyan munim. While Sanjay was thus speaking, Shri Narad, the powerful devotee of the Lord, appeared on the scene carrying his tumburu. Maharaj Yudhishthira and his brothers received him properly by getting up from their seats and offering obeisances. So Sanjay, like in the previous verse we read, Sanjay said, "My dear descendant of the Kuru dynasty," when Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Sanjay, "Where did my uncle and aunt go?" He said, "I have no information of the determination of your two uncles," means Vidura and Dhritarashtra, "and Gandhari. O king, I have been cheated by those great souls." So right at that time, Narad Muni appears. So Narad Muni is a spiritual master of the whole universe, actually, spiritual master of all the devotees. And whenever the need is, he comes right away. And here, if we study the words, Narad Muni has been addressed as Bhagwan Narada. But in the translation, Prabhupada writes, Bhagwan means a godly personality here. So Narad Muni is not Bhagwan Krishna. But since he is a powerful devotee of the Lord, he can be addressed as Bhagavan because he has those six qualities of Bhagavan Krishna to a very large extent within himself by the mercy of Krishna. So that's why he's referred to as Bhagavan. But he's not the supreme personality of Godhead, Bhagavan himself. He's like in the translation purpose says the powerful devotee of the Lord, and in the word to word meaning it says the godly personality. So we have to understand the Bhagwan here. So in the context we have to see. So Narad Muni is not Sri Bhagwan himself, but because he got the qualities to great extent that Krishna has, and he got them by the mercy of Krishna. That's why Shukdev Goswami is also the Goswami is calling him as Bhagwan. And other places, when we read further Bhagavatam, Bhagwan Shiv also, Shivji is also sometimes mentioned as Bhagwan. But he is not Bhagwan, he is a Param Vaishnav, but by mercy of Krishna, he has lots of those qualities are in greater extent present in him. So Narad Muni is a powerful devotee of the Lord, and then by the mercy of Krishna, he understands, because by mercy of Paramatma sitting in the heart, he understands, okay, this place at this time, some devotees need me, some devotees need me, so I should go there. So he appears at that place right away. Devarshi Narad is described herein as Bhagwan due to his being the most confidential devotee of the Lord. The Lord and his very confidential devotees are treated on the same level by those who are actually engaged in the loving service of the Lord. Such confidential devotees of the Lord are very much dear to the Lord because they travel everywhere to preach the glories of the Lord in different capacities and try their utmost to convert the non devotees of the Lord into devotees in order to bring them to the platform of sanity. So Prabhupada is saying because he is he's a very confidential devotee of the Lord, so he is addressed in here as Bhagwan. Actually, a living being cannot be a non-devotee of the Lord because of his constitutional position. Constitutional position means the original position of every living entity is that he is a servant of Krishna. But when he becomes a non devotee or non believer, it is to be understood that the person concerned is not in a sound condition of life. The confidential devotees of the Lord treat such illusioned living beings, and therefore they are most pleasing in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita that no one is dearer to him than one who is actually preaching, who actually preaches the glories of the Lord to convert the non believers and non devotees. The Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, like when we go to 18th chapter, we'll see Krishna says, one who gives this message to others is a most dear servant to me. Such personalities as Narad must be offered all due respects because Naradji converts, it goes all over the universe and converts non believers and non devotees into devotees of the Lord. Like those offered to the personality of God Himself, means He must be offered all respects like those offered to the personality of Godhead Himself. Why? Because He is a representative of God. Like Prabhupada has given an example, if the ambassador of America he goes to any meeting in India, he is given the respect as good as the president of America because right now he is representing American president. Although he is not American president, but he is given the respect of the same to the same extent. So similarly here, Naraji is representing Krishna. So Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his noble brothers, were examples for others in receiving a pure devotee of the Lord like Narad, who had no other business save and except singing the glories of the Lord, along with this veena, a musical stringed instrument. So he always carries his tumburu with him. Text 39. Yudhishthiruvāca Naham ved gatim pitrur bhagvan kva gatavitah ambhavahat putrartha kva gata cha tapasvini. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, O godly personality, I do not know where my two uncles have gone, nor can I find my ascetic aunt who is grief stricken by the loss of of her sons. Maharaj Yudhishthir, as a good soul and devotee of the Lord, was always conscious of the great loss of his aunt and her sufferings as an ascetic. An ascetic is never disturbed by all kinds of sufferings, and that makes him strong and determined on the path of spiritual progress. Queen Gandhari is a typical example of an ascetic because of her marvelous character in many trying situations. She was an ideal woman as mother, wife, and ascetic, and in the history of the world, such character in a woman is rarely found. So she was an ideal woman as mother, as wife, and as ascetic, as a tapasvini. And her biggest tapasya was when she put on that blindfold voluntarily because her husband was blind. So Maharaj Yudhishthir is worried, concerned about her aunt and two uncles, and he's asking Narad Muni, where did they go? Text 40. कर्णधार इवा पारे भगवान पारदर्शकः अथा भाषे भगवान नारदो मुनि सत्तमः. You're like a captain of a ship in a great ocean, and you can direct us to our destination. Thus addressed the godly personality Devarshi Narad, greatest of the philosopher devotees, began to speak. So here again Narad Muni is referred to as Bhagwan. So and he is called greatest of the philosopher because he knows this philosophy of bhakti very clearly. There are different types of philosophers, and the greatest of all of them are those who have seen the personality of Godhead and have surrendered themselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So philosophers means different kind of jnanis. So Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvan Mam Prapadyate. After many lifetimes, one who is in real knowledge, he surrenders unto me. Means he becomes a devotee. Among all such pure devotees of the Lord, Devarshi Narad is the chief, and therefore he has been described herein as the greatest of all philosopher devotees. Unless one has become a sufficiently learned philosopher by hearing the Vedanta philosophy from a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot be a learned philosopher devotee. So Narad Muni also had to hear from a bona fide spiritual master. And do you know who's the spiritual master of Narad Muni? So Narad Muni, spiritual
Brahma.
master, Brahmaji is there, and he heard Bhagavatam from four Kumaras. So of course, one can have many Shiksha gurus. So Brahmaji is one of the gurus for him. One must be very faithful, learned, and renounced. Otherwise, one cannot be a pure devotee. A pure devotee of the Lord can give us direction towards the other end of nescience. Devarshi Narad used to visit the palace of Maharaj Yudhishthira because the Pandavas were all pure devotees of the Lord, and Devarshi was always ready to give them good counsel whenever needed. So he is always ready to give good advice to the pure devotees of the Lord. Of course, he also visited Kansa's palace, and uh, and obviously Narad Muni will always give good advice, but it depends how you take it. Of course, to Kansa he gave such a cheating advice. Kansa wanted to spare the lives of his sister and brother-in-law, Devaki and Vasudeva. But it was Narad Muni who instigated him. No, 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 you cannot count like that. Demigods can count the other way. They said, oh, eighth son of Devaki will kill you, but how do you know which one is eighth? So Kansa wanted to give up killing of kids after first killing. But Narad Muni told him, no, you keep on killing. Of course, it was for ultimate good of Kansa, because he was not a devotee who could have understood the lesson right away. So it was for ultimate good of Kansa, and it was for ultimate good of the people in general, because Narad Muni wanted to expedite the appearance of Krishna on this earth and perform his pastimes. So that's why in one of the lectures, Gaur Govind Maharaj said, from devotees and Krishna also, one can expect two kinds of kripa, mercy. One is Sakapat Kripa and one is Nishkapat Kripa. Kapat means when they cheat you. So Sakapat Kripa is Kripa, but it has been covered over by some cheating propensity. And the cheating, like in Kansa's case, it was Sakapat Kripa. It was Kripa, but it was full of cheating. And at the same time, devotees can also perform Nishkapat Kripa, means no cheating, it's a straightaway mercy. So it depends on us how we approach the devotees or the Lord. So we get similar Kripa. Anyway, that's a long lecture that Maharaj gave, so maybe some other time we can discuss in detail. Text 41. Naraduvacha Ma kanchan shucho rajan yadishwar vasham jagat loka sapala yasyame vahanti balimishitu sa sayunakti bhutani sayaviyunakti cha. Shri Narad said, O pious king, do not lament for anyone, for everyone is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all living beings and their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. It is He only who brings them together and disperses them. So, every living entity, either in this material world or in the spiritual world, is under the control of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. Beginning from Brahmaji, the leader of the universe, down to the insignificant ant, all are abiding by the order of the Supreme Lord. So every living entity, it doesn't say every human being, it doesn't say only the devotees, it doesn't say only the residents of higher planetary systems. It says every living entity, either in this material world or in the spiritual world, is under the control of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. So we all are under His control. Whether we are controlled by His external potency or internal potency, that's up to us. But nevertheless, everybody, all of us are completely under the control. Thus, the constitutional position of the living being is subordination under the control of the Lord. The foolish living being, especially men, artificially rebel against the laws of the Supreme and thus become chastised as an asura or lawbreaker. A living being is placed in his particular position by the order of the Supreme Lord, and he is again shifted from that place by the order of the Supreme Lord. Or his authorized agents, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, on in the modern history, Napoleon, Akbar, Alexander, Gandhi, Subhash, and Nehru, all are servants of the Lord. And they are placed in and removed from the respective positions by the supreme will of the Lord. Amazing. Everybody is completely under control. None of them is independent. Even though such men or leaders rebel so as not to recognize the supremacy of the Lord, they are put under the still more rigorous laws of the material world by different miseries. Only the foolish man therefore says that there is no God. Even for them to say that there is no God, they have to work under the external agency of the Lord. Because the body is completely controlled by Krishna's potency. And even to say something, for the tongue to vibrate, the different demigod is in charge of that, and he controls tongue to vibrate. And the demigods are all subordinates to the Supreme Lord. But foolish people, like Prabhupada is saying, foolish, stubborn, obstinate, rebellious people, they say we are not under control. Maharaj Yudhishthira was being convinced of this naked truth because he was greatly overwhelmed by the sudden departure of his old uncles and aunt. Maharaj Dhritarashtra was placed in that position according to his past deeds. He had already suffered or enjoyed the benefits accrued to him in the past. But due to his good luck, somehow or other, he had a good younger brother Vidura, and by his instruction, he left to achieve salvation by closing all accounts in the material world. Ordinarily, one cannot change the course of one's due happiness and distress by plan. So, no amount of planning will work here. Everyone has to accept them as they come under the subtle arrangements of Kal or invincible time. There is no use trying to counteract the distress planned by Kal. The best thing is therefore that one should endeavor to achieve salvation, and thus prerogative is given only to man because of his developed condition of mental activities and intelligence. Only for man are there different Vedic instructions for attainment of salvation during the human form of existence. So this is the goal of human life, nothing else but to somehow or other work on getting salvation, getting out of here. One who misuses this opportunity of advanced intelligence is verily condemned and put into different types of miseries, either in this present life or in the future. That is the way the Supreme controls everyone. So everyone is in complete control of the Supreme Lord. In fact, there is an incident, and the king. There was a king, and he called his minister, and he asked the minister few three questions. Um, I remember two questions right now. If you remember the third one, please let me know. How to see the God? How to see God? And what is it that He does? And there's a third question I'm forgetting. And the minister, although he was very intelligent, but he was disturbed. He just couldn't answer that question, and he asked for some time. And the king had told that minister that if you don't answer it within certain time, you'll get the death punishment. So minister went home and he was very much disturbed because he couldn't answer and he couldn't find the answer. So his son was very young son. He was very intelligent. And he said, Father, I will go with you and I'll answer these questions. These questions are very simple. Father said, okay. So on that stipulated day, the son went with the father, and father told king, okay, my son will answer these questions. These are very simple questions. King said, okay. So king asked the son, what is it? How to see the God? How do you see God? So son said, oh king, I'm a little boy. I want to drink some milk. Can you get me some milk? King said, this is very absurd request at this time, but nevertheless, he's okay. Let him get some milk. So when the milk came, the son said, "O king, what do you see in this milk, in this bowl?" King said, "Well, I see milk." The boy asked him, "Do you see butter in this?" He said, "No, but there is butter." This boy said. Then king said, "Yes, there is butter, but we don't see it." So boy said, similarly, God is everywhere. We just have to have the eyes to see him. So king very much appreciated that answer. Then he has a next question. I don't know the second question. The third question was, what is it that he does? So the boy said, O king, this is not the proper way to ask question. Right now I am acting as your guru, and you are sitting on a high seat and you're making me stand here. So how do you respect a guru? So king said, well, we respect a guru by offering him our seat. So the boy said, okay. So he got king got down and the boy sat on the seat of the king. And the boy said, now do you understand what God does? King said, no. He said, this is what God does. Sometimes he makes you the king, and sometimes he makes you stand in front of the king. And sometimes I'm a little boy and now I'm sitting on your throne. So everything is temporary. And just like uh, Prabhupada is explaining here, everyone has to accept the distress or happiness as they come under the subtle arrangements of Kal or invincible time. There is no use trying to counteract them. So everything in this material world is temporary. Whatever position we have, whether we are happy or whether we are in pain, everything is temporary. Nobody prays, nobody goes to temple and pray to Krishna, oh Krishna, I've been happy for such a long time. Please give me some pain now. Please give me some distress. Please give me some misery. Nobody asks for that, but still we get miserable. Still we get disease, still we get so many problems in our lives. So similarly, happiness will also come on its own accord. But we do go to the temple to pray for the happiness. Only thing whether we should be going to temple to pray for is Krishna, no matter what, please keep me engaged in your service and please give me more and more service. That's all. And at the end, we should be working on a ultimate goal of life, not to worry about the temporary happiness or pains that we're gonna encounter in this lifetime. So it's 11:20. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any question or comment. Otherwise, these verses by Narad Muni are also wonderful. Uh, Wonderful philosophy he speaks. They're very wonderful things to discuss. Anyway, anybody has any questions or comments? Wow, again, pin drop silence. I like that.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for the nice class.
Thank you.
Actually, you explain everything. The questions also you explain during the course of your lecture.
True.
But if you remember the third question that the boy answered, that'll be great. I'll try to search. What was the third question?
I think it's
So
something
anyway,
like, can you see God? Question was something like, can you see God? Is he here now?
What is the question, Prabhu?
Can you see God? And is he here now?
oh, is it?
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, I know it was something related to that. But let me try to find out the exact text.
what's the answer to that question?
Well, one was that no, you have to have the eyes to see God. Just like,
I will tell it in a nice way.
I'll try to find out those three questions. Oh,
Okay.
or the third question. Let me see. Okay, so you all have a wonderful day, wonderful Monday. Hare Krishna. Jai Shila
Thank
Hare
you.
Prabhupada.
Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.